Okay, so TEMU, you probably know that website, reach out to me if I want to try some of their products, so today's video will be all about cheap displays from TEMU. And let's start with this one, the RGB Nixie Clock LED Tube Simulation. That's quite a long name for a product. So let me just open the package, and this not only has one display, it has 5 displays. And if I power it up using the provided USB cable, you can see it showing the time using those edge-lit displays, which are simulating the Nixie tubes. And I have to say this is already my favorite product, because I like Nixie tubes, I like edge-lit displays and I like clocks, so this is an easy choice for me. And I have some good news for you. If you use the link down in the description and you install the TEMU application, or if you use this code inside the application, you should be able to get one of today's products for only €1. And you should also be able to get those clocks for about €20. Anyway, I already have a video about edge-lit displays, that's this one. Unfortunately, I still don't have the CO2 laser, so I had to etch those acrylic sheets manually. So it's not perfect, it's kind of rough. But I hope that if I ever justify buying the CO2 laser, I will create something like those clocks. Actually, I might just put it apart and just install my own acrylic sheets inside. Yeah, that might be a good idea. I also like those metal pieces around those acrylic sheets for simulating the Nixie tubes, and the last digit is actually made from 2 digits, which is kind of interesting. So yep, I'm quite happy with those clocks, so let's move on to the next product. And you will notice that this video is not only about cheap displays, but also about my future projects. And that's because there are a lot of things that I would like to try, and I thought maybe I can see what's out there for some inspiration, which is the case for this next product, which is this cheap HUD display for car. And it's supposed to be showing the speed using the GPS sensor, and I guess also the compass using those 4 letters. And there is also a sound, I guess, when you exceed some speed. If I open the package, we have the main unit, the holder and some cable for power source. Again, since this is getting the speed from the GPS sensor, you don't need to connect this to your car in any way. This is just the USB cable for the power supply. And then there is this foil, which should reflect the numbers on the windshield. So let me just connect this to the power source, and it's looking for the GPS signal. And when it's not flashing anymore, it has the signal and it will show the speed, which is currently 0 because I'm not moving anywhere. But let's imagine that this is the windshield and it's reflecting the number like that. Now in the end it will be even more transparent because there are 2 protective foils still on this foil. But seeing that this display is not extremely bright, it makes me think that I can probably use a different display with this foil, maybe this one. This is the 7x11 LED matrix display that I have used for my shifter gear project, so maybe I can create some simple HUD project using that display. Please let me know in the comment section if you would like to see something like that. Anyway, let's put the HUD aside and let's see what else I have in there. And I have more clocks, actually 3 of them. There is this cheap, very basic one, but it has a transparent display. That's something I search for all the time. And I have some videos with transparent displays on this channel, using the transparent OLED display for the 3D menu. And I also have this second video with the 3D rotating cube on the OLED display. Now this is obviously not an OLED display, but it's still a nice looking clock. The second clock is also related to my older project, and it's a type of clock where nothing is visible until you power it up. And that's because the display is hidden behind this what's supposed to look like a wood, but it's actually not a wood, it's just some kind of sticker. And I have a very similar project on my channel already using a real wood covering the LED matrix display. By the way, I've used a diode laser cutter to cut those wooden pieces. So that's those clocks, and then there is one more clock which is most interesting out of those, and that's this one using the flip-flop displays. And it's most interesting for me because I would like to create some project using those types of displays, but I haven't done it yet. I've seen a lot of tutorials using Arduino and stepper motors and 3D printed parts, but I think that those clocks have none of that. If I flip it around and open this compartment, there are 2 handles for setting minutes and hours. And as I click those, I'm changing the minutes and at some point also the hours. So for my next project, the first thing that I will do is of course open those clocks and see if I can somehow replicate this mechanism from those clocks. Okay, so let's move on to the next product, and this one is mainly a reminder for myself to always check dimensions before ordering anything, because as you can see from the size of the box, this will not be a small display. And yes, this display is actually quite big. This is the 32x32 LED matrix display powered by the USB-C cable. There are two buttons on the side, one for the power and the other one for switching between different screens. You can again show the clocks. You can show this rainbow animation or play some built-in animations. However, the best thing is of course installing the iPhone or Android application, which should give you the full control over the content. Once you connect it over the Bluetooth, you can make changes, for example change the color of the clock. The second option is I guess just a solid color. Then there is this rainbow or waterfall effect. And then you can jump to the next section and browse a lot of different animations. And I really like that you just click the image and it's immediately transferred to the display. If you jump to the main tab, you can use this as a scoreboard, which is kind of nice. But what I like the most is being able to draw your own image. I wasn't expecting to spend too much time with the display, but I actually ended up spending quite a lot of time. And despite the confusion about the size, again I was expecting this to be much smaller, and the fact that the display could have been a little bit brighter, I actually like it quite a lot. By the way, I do have this video where I was using the 8x8 LED matrix display together with some overlays to change the shape of those pixels. And for that I was using custom-made SMD stencils. I wonder how this display would look like with those pixels being in the different shape. I also have this video where I was creating pixel animations for the Arduino Uno R4 Wi-Fi board, because that board has the LED matrix display right on the PCB. And for those animations I was using a free online tool called Pisco application. And I'm sure that you can use the very same tool to create the animations also for this 32x32 pixel screen. I mean, it will be probably slightly easier than clicking those individual pixels on your phone. Anyway, let's move on. I still have 2 or 3 products with displays. And the next one is actually the display itself. So it's this external HDMI screen. In quite the unusual size, it's very wide and narrow, with the resolution of 1280 by 480 pixels. There is the USB cable for the power supply and the HDMI cable for connecting it to your PC. But I don't want to connect it to my PC today, I want to connect it to the Raspberry Pi. And I have this Pi version, which is the 400 keyboard. I just need a slightly different HDMI cable because the connection on the Raspberry Pi uses the micro HDMI connection, while the provided HDMI cable has the full-sized standard HDMI connector. So after using the adapter and connecting everything together, the screen seems to be working, but it's in the portrait orientation. So let me just fix that by going into the preferences and the screen configuration. And in here, rotate it by 90 degrees. I guess it's called the right orientation. Then hit the apply button and it should be fixed. As for the screen itself, it's a nice looking IPS display with nice colors and good brightness. Again, the aspect ratio and the resolution is quite unusual, but I think that it will look great with some Raspberry Pi project. So yep, I would like to build something with the Raspberry Pi, but I still need to learn a lot of things before I can actually create a video. But yes, it's on my to-do list for sure, and I might even use this display. By the way, yes, you can connect it to your PC and use this as the external display. And maybe you can put it inside your PC case and maybe play some video or show some statistics. I have a video series about that topic using different displays. Those were actually not external HDMI screens, those were specialized displays only for displaying PC statistics. And in those videos I show how to create custom themes and how to use those displays. So that's for this display, and I think that I still have 1 or 2 more products. Here is one called hexagonal LED light. And when you connect one of them to a USB power supply using the provided USB cable that has the same connection on both ends, you should be able to tap on the tile with your finger and turn it on and off. And you are supposed to glue this on your wall in some pattern to light up your room. And I believe there are 6 of those tiles in the box. You only connect one of them to the power supply and the rest of the tiles should be connected using those USB connectors. So let me just do that, let me connect a few of them together. And you should still be able to control individual lights with the touch of the finger. Now there are dozens of different variations of this product, using the RGB lights, being connected using the Bluetooth or Wi-Fi and so on and so on. But I like the simplicity of having just a white light and not having to install any application. And there is of course a reason for getting this item, because I want to try something similar. And that's because I have this Arduino touch sensor which should work at some distance, I believe about 2 centimeters. So you don't have to actually press it, you can just hover your finger above this sensor and it should still trigger the sensor. So I was thinking about putting this sensor with the Arduino into some 3D printed enclosure to create some touch sensitive light module. And for the light itself, I will most likely use some NeoPixel, because they are very easy to use and I have used those in the past, for example to create this big 7-segment display. By the way, this project also has the 3D printed enclosure. There is still one more product that I haven't covered, and that's this one. Is the most cheapest one and the most basic one, and it should be like a reading light which you place on the page, but I don't plan to use it for that. I have this video with custom made electrochromatic displays, and while they look great, you cannot see them in dark. And just because the way they are made, you cannot use backlight, so I was thinking of using the front light instead, basically just overlaying this on the display. Will that work? Well, we will see next time. If you like any of my ideas for my future videos, please let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear what you are interested in. Thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you soon. Thanks and bye.